Well, hey class, just wanted to take a few moments to welcome you to Art and Music Appreciation for the Winter 2026 quarter. My name is John Clanton and I will be the instructor for this class. Um, the only other time I taught this class, I think, was the winter of 2024, and I actually took over. I think the full-time professor had to go on leave, so I kind of picked up about midway. But I've kept the class pretty much how the original instructor designed it, but I added a few of my own twists. Mainly with the final project, I like to give a lot of different options, but more on that later. So, just wanted to take a few minutes to do a quick preview of the class. I'm going to click on the syllabus here and open that. So I guess the main thing is the text that we'll be using. An Introduction to Music and Art in the Western World, the 10th edition. Not sure if you can see that there, but that's what we'll be using for the class. And we will be reading most, if not all, of the chapters. The other thing is I teach full-time at San Joaquin Delta College, and I have office hours on Zoom. I'm going to have them Fridays from 1 to 2. So I actually shared that link with you as well. And I'll show you where that's at. So if you have any questions, you can always email or text. I have my personal cell phone there. But since I will be having those office hours, not this Friday, technically it would start, I think, the 16th. Feel free to drop in. So, a little bit about the class. You can read through all this, but I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Basically, how it's going to be laid out is there will be, you can count on weekly discussions and some short writing assignments. Now, the major essay assignments is a little different because I give you several options. You don't have to write a traditional essay. There are some other options as well, but we can talk more about that later on in the class. And for the midterm and final, most of it will be multiple choice. I'm going to try to actually build the multiple choice quizzes within Moodle so you don't have to submit a document. It will be easier for you and for me to grade. So I hope to have that complete so you won't have to do it on a traditional document, but the midterm won't be till about week 5 or week 6. So that's basically it. It's an elective. It's meant to kind of have a broader appreciation with for art and music. I know I was an English major, a literature major in college, but one of my favorite classes I ever took was something like this. It was a not music and art. It was just a music, but I learned a lot about classical music, romantic era music, a lot of different stuff. A lot of different genres within concert music, I guess is the proper way to describe it. Concert meaning like a big symphony hall. Classical music, I know most people, when they see a big orchestra or whatever, they just say, oh, that's classical music. But classical music is basically an era. There's a classical era, there's a romantic era, there's a modernist. It kind of falls in the same line with literature movements. But anyway, it was one of the best classes I ever took. We had to actually go to the Stockton Symphony. So when I was a student at Delta. So hopefully you have a similar experience. And the other thing I wanted to point you to was the AI policy. Since the main way that your work will be assessed will be the written work. You know, AI will not be allowed in this class. I think it's fine to use it as a tool, to maybe help you find research articles, maybe to give you an outline, but to simply put in a prompt to something like ChatGPT and paste that prompt into an assignment and call it your own work is definitely unethical, and that will not be allowed. I'm actually working on a PhD program, and I've actually come to appreciate how it can save time as far as research, but one thing I have noticed is the information that it does provide, you always have to scrutinize because it's sometimes not correct and it sounds very sterile. It's definitely not as good as human writing. So anyway, here is the AI policy that the college has instituted. Basically everything I said right there. And again, especially with the written assignments, I don't care if you use it to help you generate an outline, but as far as the actual assignment itself should be your own work. All right, in bottom of the syllabus, this is kind of the layout of the entire class. Um, so we'll start at the very beginning with the Greeks and the Romans. All right, so the other thing that I want to point out is this week, it's, the introduction week. Let's see, where is my... I want that. Oh, there it is. This week, it's mandatory that we have an assignment. So, here's my link for the office hours. If you click on that, you'll see the link right here. So again, we'll start that next Friday. And you don't have to. I mean, I'm a part-time instructor here at Humphrey, so I'm not technically required to hold office hours, but I figured, since Fridays I will be working from home, and I would just share that link with you. But this week is just kind of a get to know you assignment, and that is right here. Just a couple of paragraphs. It says, welcome to art and music appreciation and the winter quarter. In order to encourage immediate participation and attendance in all online courses, the Humphreys University Online Standards Committee has mandated that there be an assignment due on the first Sunday. So that's why we're doing this. So here's your first assignments. Just a simple paragraph to introduce yourself to me, include your degree, major, maybe some personal info, whatever you're comfortable sharing, interests and hobbies, anything you feel comfortable including about your family life. And then the second paragraph relates to the class itself. Within the same document, write a brief second paragraph describing what kind of art and music do you like and why do you think these two elements are such an important part of our lives. Personally, I think, as we continue to move forward in this AI age, I think things that make us human, that's why they call them the humanities, dance, art, music, literature, things like that are I think they're going to be at a premium. The ability to create, I think, just to remind us of our humanity. I think these things will, I think they're going to be more popular, and I think higher institutions hopefully will place more emphasis on them. Because I know in the past it's all about, been about math and science, which is great. We need that. But I don't think we can forget about the humanities as well, because I truly believe that they're an important part of our lives. But anyway, so that's a little bit about what I think about question number 2. So I look forward to reading yours. And that's, as long as you have it in before Sunday, before midnight, that'd be great. So other than that, hope you all enjoy the class. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.